Welcome to the Oliver Fetter YouTube channel. Today, I'm putting my Volkswagen back together. This is my Mark 1, and currently a whole lot of knot transmission in there, and that's because I had this horrible death rattle sound, and it turned out to be my flywheel, or really the clutch, because VW clutches are backwards. But either way, the clutch was about to fall off the crankshaft, and very fortunately the crankshaft was not damaged from this. So, I got a new clutch kit because the clutch was damaged, and then I foolishly, oh so foolishly, thought I could reuse those bolts that came loose. Fortunately for me, as I tried to put the new clutch in, one of the heads immediately sheared off of the old set of bolts, which one of two things. Either those could have been crappy bolts, which is why they came loose in the first place, or they were damaged from the flywheel being loose and driving the car, which makes sense. Either way, I now have these right here. We got, well, I actually don't know what grade these are, but from Euro Tuning, these are Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, pressure plate and flywheel bolts. So it's pressure plate to crank and then flywheel to pressure plate, which are these little ones here. And these are reusable, so that's at least what it says. Of course, it doesn't give a torque spec on the website, so I'm just going to use the normal torque spec, which for the crankshaft, I want to say is 44 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees, and the flywheel is like 15 foot-pounds-ish, so we're going to do that. This time around, definitely blue Loctite on these, which I always do. Normally I do blue Loctite on these too, but I am definitely going to be putting red Loctite on these ones, because I don't want this to ever come off. At least not unless I want it to. So, we're going to get these thrown in there and work it back, see if that solved the problem. Got all my bolts locked and loaded. Kind of actually. Again, blue on pressure plate, red on flywheel. I said that backwards. Red on pressure plate, blue on flywheel, VW's backwards. Okay, so I have my pressure plate bolted up here. I got my initial 44 foot-pounds of torque, which was pretty easy. Just use a torque wrench. Now, this would be better with a paint marker, but I don't have one, so I use Sharpie. But what you want to do for the 90 degrees is mark it. So I have a mark on the bolt head and a mark on the flywheel. Pressure plate, excuse me, all the way around. Then I just need to turn all of these until I get 90 degrees, and then you can visually check whether or not you're at 90. Here you go, that's my first one. It's actually not quite 90 yet, I probably gotta hit it one more time. And this is really tight, so currently I am counter holding the engine with my foot and cranking on it pretty hard to get it where it needs to be. And then I'm also gonna be doing a crisscross pattern as I tighten these to keep everything even. Okay, now clutch plate is also installed. This is an installation tool that should come with a new clutch, and it just helps keep everything centered. Take that out though, because it'll get in the way. Ta-da! This actually raises an interesting point of debate, and so I want your opinion. I've seen, and let's first start with clutch disc, clutch pressure plate to crankshaft, those 6 bolts. I've seen both 44 foot-pounds in 90 degrees, and I've also seen 22 foot-pounds in 90 degrees. Realistically, the initial foot-pounds probably doesn't matter that much, and both of those being with the 90 degrees is a torque to yield. Now, theoretically, the bolt set I ordered is, quote, reusable. Do you still go to whatever plus 90 degrees, or would you go to something different? Personally, I just threw it in there. I went 44 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. None of the bolts snapped, so probably good and tight. I don't imagine it's gonna come off, though I do wonder if somehow they're not supposed to be torque to yield, and maybe you could in theory over tighten them and the bolt head would snap, but I would assume we'd strip the crankshaft threads before the bolt head would come off. Drop a comment, see what you think. And that is to get it basically onto my chest, which is a little fried. Oh God. And you're always fighting the differential because that's where all the weight is. Okay. But basically what I'm going for here is just a nice clean bench press into place. And okay. It's just awkward, that's all. It's not that heavy. Oh, I suck. Okay. I forgot I raised the engine a little bit. Okay. And it's pretty important you tilt the motor so that this actually fits. No, not a good handhold. Hey, finally. Oh, that sucks. There you go. A little bit of awkward lifting, and she's in place. Next, you want to get 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3 down in the back, bolts in, so that this isn't just hovering. And there is a pin that aligns everything, so you want to make sure that goes into place and you're not forcing it. Get it on the pin first, then bolt it up. Then your last 2 mounting bolts end up being your starter, which I'm going to hold off on. Now I like to get my engine mount back in place while the engines and everything still dropped a few inches. Makes it a lot easier. And then you can just kind of lift it up and get this end back in. 2 things that make this job a lot easier. First is a plug like this. This is just a silicone hydraulic plug, and it keeps your transmission fluid from going everywhere when you pull it out. And the second thing is you definitely want, if you have Allen keys on your axle shafts, these like extra long wobble end Allen bits make it so much easier to take that stuff off with an impact driver than sitting in there with an Allen wrench hating your life. Done it many times. Well, 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 it's all in there. Car's on the ground. Moment of truth. Not bad. No rattling sound. Just a rattling radiator. Phew. Okay, so we're back. Finally. That was the longest, most drawn out, annoying repair process of all time. I feel like I started having this rattling like literally 2 or 3 months ago, and it took me till today to actually have it ready to drive, repaired. Brutal. So, if you have a loud rattling sound coming from your flywheel area, probably pull your starter and check if your flywheel is loose. Don't like drop your oil pan and do all these extra steps that I did. But it's now repaired and ready to go. So I honestly kind of forget where I left off because I've just been putting out fire after fire after this swap. But I think next steps is probably like a dyno day. assuming it passes a few more test drives, and probably a track day after that, and definitely like an Arduino work session. I still have a new replacement Arduino to try out from homie Netherlands engineering friend, and there's still some kinks I need to work out. Like there's no longer an RPM gauge on this, which is interesting. So we gotta try to pull RPM off the crankshaft and some things like that. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time.